are still behaving and going to the British university, the British government system, godless. If somehow we get sleepy in the class, Prabhupada said it's a cure from, if you have some sleeping problem, Bhagavad Gita reading, the class is the cure for sleeping problem. And I know, because I also had that problem. But I made a commitment. I saw anytime I sit that I sleep. And with reading, with chanting my rounds, reading, class, my mind was just in Maya, attracted to Maya, like we're going to read it here in this class. Why we're here is so we can forget God, we can forget our spiritual nature. And so we're very attracted to hearing topics, the news, some cricket match, politics. We'll be very alert to hearing about the slaughter of the people, Hamas, I don't know, maybe you know, killing babies and children. Because this is a result of Kam, Lobh, and Krodh, even in the name of religion. And so we come to the temple, even in the name of religion, and we're still attached to working for these industry with automobiles, with the gas and the pollution of Delhi, which is the worst in the world. And now, as a result of all this British brainwash, even in India, Punya Bhumi, same-sex marriage is a big issue. Isn't it? Sex, killing babies, killing cows, killing animals. You see in the market, you see in Punya Bhumi. Even 400 years ago, when Shivaji Maharaj, he was trained by his mother from birth to bring back the Vedic culture. Even when Aurangzeb was wiping it out, Prabhupada said he was the last Maharati. And he was trained, he took shelter of Tukaram and Ramdas Swami. And his personal teacher, when he was a child, Dadaji Kondadev, trained him in how to administrate. And with the martial arts of a commander-in-chief, not like today, just going to the job, the office, to get money from the British, just like the British and Americans. And you see the whole confusion as a result. And so we're like robots going on by our habit to go to the job, get the money. If there's a nuclear war, if there's a third world war coming in a few years, there won't be any gas for electrical power. There won't be electrical power. There won't be food. Because people are not living on the land, like Bharat was agriculture. Shivaji, he got the economy on turning the desert in Pune back into the land. He inspired the hill fighters, the hill people. Oh yeah, I'm forgetting. Is somebody translating?
I did translating those who have come new. जो नए आए, जो भक्त हैं जिनको हिंदी में समझना है तो पीछे वहाँ ट्रांसलेशन कर रहे हैं उदय बलराम जी, तो वहाँ पे आप बैठ सकते हैं. बाकी मतलब प्रभु जी इंग्लिश में लेक्चर.
We glorify the freedom fighters who got the British out, but they're not out. We're still brainwashed. Nobody's protesting these Bollywood and Hollywood movies. Everybody, India is the biggest Bollywood and movie producer. And what are they producing? Huh? How to have sex with your friend's wife. That's all you get. Nothing. In the school, you get nothing of Bharat. You get all the Western literature. Kam, Lobh, Krodh. And nobody cares. Even our devotees, they don't want to have Gurukul. Just these IIT, computer. Just like a robot going to these industrial, where the industry is to rape Mother Earth, to destroy Mother Earth. With bioengineered food, with tractors, no cows, killing the cows. These Amul, dairy. They wiped out all the cows so they could control the milk industry. Now you don't see any cows. There's no pasture ground. Everything with big developments like this Rohini and Noida. Destroying the earth, destroying the quality of the human, godless. Dogs, animals. What kind of character you get from the university? Huh? You know in the youth hostels what they do. You know better than me. Just like US. When are we going to wake up and follow the second half of Prabhupada's mission? To get back to Mother Earth with the plow, Haladar, Balaram, Krishi Goraksha. If you're not doing Brahminical activity, and you're not a Kshatriya, and I don't mean like these soldiers where the generals are but they're on the front line, like Yudhishthir, and Shivaji Maharaj, and Prithu Maharaj, the Kshatriyas, the real Maharaj, the real government leader. And they show by their character, their quality, not just by birth. It's guna karma. So it's time right now, very dangerous. You have time to get some land for this temple. And you may very well not have a temple. I don't know how Krishna will protect all the temples in Delhi, because Delhi is going to be the first target when China and Russia, with Iran and North Korea, against India, will probably go with America and the European countries. But India is right there with China and Russia, right on the border. And they're just like Aurangzeb. What they'll do is what Hamas did with the women, killing, rape. And we're just going to the job like everything's okay because it's a nice sunny day. Like robots. It's on the World War III, is on the Google. Everybody's talking about it. We just keep going until the bombs fall. Prabhupada predicted this would happen 50 years ago, that there's going to be a big change in the whole world structure. And it's happening right now. Right now. But we keep going like robots, like everything's okay. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I go to my job. I get some paychecks so I can pay some 5 lakh of, development in a prison with plastic furniture instead of Sada Jivan and Ucha Vichar. We read this Bhagavad Gita. Exactly the opposite of what Prabhupada's to get back to the earth, Mother Bhumi and Mother Cow. There should be millions of cows like Krishna and Balaram, Vrindavan mood, the village mood. This is the strength of Bharat. So when there's no food, what are you going to do with your family when the Chinese and Russian soldiers are coming here? And what they're going to do is it? Get out of it. You got to get some land. Probably every temple should be the food, the vegetables and fruits, everything, and the milk from our own cows and our own land for the devotees. And we're going to have to train people to grow food. That's our duty. To organize it after millions of people are killed. They're not going to know how to grow the food. Who's doing it? In America, hardly anybody. Here in India, a few visionaries like Bhakti-Rasamrit Maharaj and Lokanath Maharaj and Bhakti Raghava Maharaj and Bhakti Vikash Maharaj. They're struggling because nobody wants to do it. To send their kids to real bona fide Brahmanical gurukuls so they can become first-class teachers and guides for the other Varnas and real Kshatriyas and real Vaishyas like Nanda and Yashoda and Jijabai and Shivaji Maharaj, even just a few hundred years ago. And now Prabhupada's come to show us what human life is meant to be. Not like we're hearing this story of our material attachments and how Puranjana was looking for sense gratification with his puja, with his religious rituals for karmakanda bhakti. And that's what we are. We're karmakanda bhaktas. Just for eye enjoyment. We have nice, even brahmacharis, you know, we're happy. I can do the madanga, I can do nice kirtan, I do my service. That's sattva gun. But that's for my enjoyment, under the modes of material nature. So you're very nice brahmacharis, and chanting Hare Krishna is very good. But we have to get to Nishta, when bhakti really begins. Free from material possessions and attachment, from our comfort zone, ready to go out on Sankirtan and book distribution to educate the masses. We're in the city, but with wholehearted dedication every day to educate people so they go out of the city and start farm communities, revive the village culture. Instead of in these demoniac cities where there's all kinds of Bollywood and beer and drugs, killing babies in the university, you learn in the medical school how to kill the baby. They encourage you to drink and eat meat, and then you get cut up with a surgery instead of with Ayurveda for a godly life. We just go on like robots with all this cinema and television and all these godless universities. We get programmed to go to the job to support all these industries, to destroy Mother Earth with all these factories, which, you know, the pollution, you can't even breathe the air. Dangerous. That's what they put on the internet every day, isn't it? What are we going to do about it? That's our job. Each individual has a commitment to the quality of their own life. To follow, hear Bhagavad Gita, what is the, without knowing of the soul. In my relation with God, we're animals. How many of us are studying Bhagavad Gita and Bhagwatam? How many times we're reading Krishna book to become attached to the Lord and go back to Godhead? Like Prabhupada's move, to become like Prabhupada quality. Like some of his disciples, a few of them, like Gopal Krishna Maharaj and Lokanath, Niranjana Maharaj in Ukraine. 30,000 devotees, but they still go to the job. How many farm communities do we have in ISKCON where they're self-sufficient? Not one. Which is the second half of Prabhupada's mission. So we live a simple living, high thinking, to go back home, back to Godhead. How many are serious to fix their mind, absorb their mind in Krishna's instructions, and act like Arjuna? We just hear like some dog and, you know, maybe be sitting in the corner and hearing Bhagwatam class, and he doesn't do anything. And that's what we are. No inspiration. Yes, now we have to organize. And if we don't know how to take care of the cow and milk the cow and with the oxen, like we have on Padayatra, I appreciate the village culture because I live in it. Whatever's left with Padayatra, and I always wanted to get back to the village when I was growing up, because I could see all these industries are just training criminals, all these universities. And I dropped it, and that's how I became a devotee. Because I care for myself. I want the best quality of life. And for the world, as a loving family with the animals and the Lord and all living beings. That's what I want. I want real love, real happiness, real relationships with Krishna and each other, heart to heart, with the animals and the cows and the peacocks and the parrots. Now you don't see any parrots anymore because everybody's taking birth as pigeons and crows. So what are you going to do? We have a few years before the World War. It's very likely. Now the sides are being, now the Palestinians with the Muslims and against the West and Israel and everything, and it's going to expand with China and Russia and India on the other side. Because Russia is going to break away from India because they're more dependent on China. So they're not going to stick with India. They're going to go with China. They're already doing it. Are you ready to pick up a machine gun and go out like in Ukraine? And get all these bombs and mines and have your legs blown off and arms if you're still living? That's happening. And it's going to be happening here. Any comments? Huh? Anybody have any inspiration? Yes. Now is the time to organize and discuss these things with a sense of urgency, emergency, to get some land now and develop a farm community. Those who are enough brain. Prabhupada said, we have no brain, we have stool brain. He came to wash or clean our brain. So when we hear the Shastras, then we act like Arjuna. Not just like some animal, trained as an animal, and continue to go on with the way we've been trained by the demons. These Rakshasa professors, and we get very proud. What is your qualification? Oh, I'm a software engineer, I'm blah, blah, blah. I know how to kill babies in the hospital, I'm a PhD doctor. How I can cut up your liver and kidney. And we have a heart transplant instead of becoming healthy and strong with Mother Earth and using the plow instead of sitting in the office all day. Simple living, high thinking, and then you grow your food with your own land. Take that money that you have to spend for these prisons and these developments and get some of your own land and a community with loving devotees working together for Krishna's service and glorification instead of getting trained up in all these godless, atheistic, so-called science. And from mathematics, learning how to get big money from making nuclear bombs and all these weapons. Yeah, it's kind of a shock, isn't it? But it's better to get the shock now, but then when you're getting the bombs and they're coming into the cities and killing your women and raping and making sex slaves like they did with Aurangzeb and cutting off the genitals of the men, isn't it? Making sex slaves, that's what they do. Better to get the shock now and wake up. Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra, Bole. Kota Nija, Yayo Maya, Pisachira, Kole. Get up off the lap of the witch called Maya. That's why there's Forest of Enjoyment by Nard Muni is to wake up Prachini Barishat and the family in the dynasty of Dhruva Maharaj. This is why Prabhupada came, to wake us up, like Nard Muni. So when are we going to wake up? This message and act with commitment, with the courage coming from hearing these instructions and chanting the holy name. Please engage me in your service. Impossible is the word in a fool's dictionary. Because then we become real instruments of the Lord when we carry out the instructions of the Lord. We become protected like Shivaji, undefeatable like Arjuna and Shivaji Maharaj. How Prabhupada established his mission in the middle of New York and expanded it all over America and Europe and Canada and Mexico, South America, Russia, China, all over the world with that enthusiasm. So now it's time. If one person can get this enthusiasm and then discuss it with others, and then that with someone else, and then with someone else, find some, and in our preaching to the people out there, I'm meeting people in Delhi who come to the temple. Everybody knows what's happening, and then they get inspired. Yes, this is a solution. We have all the answers, scientific knowledge. for the Muslims, for the Hindus, everybody is in darkness. This is scientific. Anybody who has enough, it's a wake-up call right now. How we could come together and live as a spiritual Krishna Kaparivar family. Allah Akbar, same. I'm editor of a book showing how the Vedic literature and the Quran is the same. Islam and the Vedas. Reconciled, the message. Same. We're all one family, one God. Ramadan means from Ram, Raman, Ram, Ek Bhagavan. We have to know these things. What is the essence of all religion? I was just hearing Prabhupada. I hear Prabhupada lectures every day. Through the whole Bhagwatam. I'm on the 6th canto right now. And all the Gita lectures every day. And now I'm reading also from the Goswamis, Bhakti Vinod. But you got to go through the Bhagavatam to be able to appreciate the more intimate details of our relationship with Krishna. You got to want to. Go back home, back to Godhead is not so cheap. You have to develop unalloyed love. You have to go through an arta nivriti after initiation to take diksha, but not just a superficial or heart-to-heart relationship with guru and shishya. Not just like robots doing some mechanical puja, but in the mission. And to take the order of the spiritual master and go out, like Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I'm just reading his conversations with a saint, with Prabhupada. Right now, a gift by Krishna's grace, how I can increase my attachment and take shelter of my old senior godbrothers and even grand disciples who are more mature and advanced in their service and in their realization, like Kadamba Maharaj. We have to become real devotees. It means when you're in grade school, you're 1 and 1 is 2, you're serious. And then you get in second stand and you're serious. So you know when you're a serious student, he'll be like that. He'll go through all the standards and he'll become a nuclear physicist and able to blow up the world. With that education, we got to apply that same determination in Krishna consciousness. We're motivated for sense gratification, but we're not motivated to get trained up in Krishna consciousness with a sense of urgency and to preach like this from our heart to the heart of another person, like Prabhupada did with us. Out of love and compassion, we have to develop love and compassion for others. With those feelings, instead of sleeping in class and still sitting. What's his name? And he's even initiated. Stand up. Stand and fight, Krishna says. If you're just sitting and the Maya enemy is attacking, then stand up. To be ashamed of our attachment for Maya and to take shelter of Krishna wholeheartedly. To fight the battle with the mind. You're young. You have a young body. You have that energy. You can stand up. If you're motivated, you can develop a farm community and train real kshatriyas. And devotee police. Instead of all this bribery. With integrity of a kshatriya. We have to be integrity, the principles that we're ready to live and die for. As a spirit soul, that there is no death. for the jiva. We're still identifying with the stool bag. And we decorate it. We have the right clothes, the right fashion, the right shirt, coats, and pants. Prabhupada never did that. He went to America and Russia, Moscow. He never did that in his whole life. Even when we was a pharmaceutical company. And he knew everything about Ayurveda at the same time. We just go on blindly following the British system, godless, the demoniac, supporting that, learning that, how to become expert, to cheat others, to make some profit, and still live as a loving community, like Mother Yashoda and Vrindavan with the cows. We're afraid of the bull and the oxen and the cows. We're afraid of acting as devotees. We're afraid because we have no faith in Krishna. Just how he can supply our sense gratification. And that's the Arta-Arti who turn to Krishna, who have enough piety, so they turn to Krishna for their economic development. Kam, Lobh, Krodh. Kam, what? Dharma, Artha, Kama. So you follow some Dharma. And that's what Modi's doing. So you get some material prosperity because you do some puja. And so you can sit back and have nice prasadam and chant your rounds and do a little chanting. And I'm enjoying. I'm the enjoyer. Bhakti begins in Nishtha, when you're fixed as a preacher, to see everyone as family, and to go out and preach and establish these farm communities if you're not ready to stay brahmachari. And you grow your own food, and you show the world how to live. We have to have model communities to show the world how to live. And when there is no gas or oil, all you need is a few bombs, and the whole thing is finished. And that's happening already. And even it's going to run out anyway. Even if the bombs don't fall. And now we're getting all kinds of tsunamis and earthquakes and hurricanes as a reaction. And all this pollution. People are dying, getting all kinds of disease in this kind of world. Babies are being killed in the hospitals by the thousands and millions. Because of sense gratification, people don't want to raise their children. And they don't know how they're going to have to take birth in the womb. For 100 births for every child they kill. And they'll never see the light of day. Because they'll be born and they'll be killed by the doctor. Butchers. And you get big PhD, oh, I'm a doctor. All big respect for being a big businessman, drinking your vodka and eating the flesh of the chicken and very nice. And just because you have the British clothes. So, this is what the class is about. The Maya Devi. How we do our rituals so we can have a nice facility for material sense gratification. That's what this whole, this is the instruction to Pratini Barishat, so we can wake up. Well, when are we going to actually hear the message like Pratini Barishat and wake up? stand and fight, armed with yoga. Our yoga means hearing about Krishna, acting for Krishna's pleasure of Guru and Krishna, to understand the and make that move Prabhupada's move. He's the Shiksha Guru for everyone in ISKCON, if you want him to be. If you have that mood of a disciple, like Gopal Krishna Maharaj, that's a disciple. To become that quality. Guru Sadhu Shastra. And then you can connect with the Chaitya Guru in the heart. With a purified mind and heart. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. That your mind is that quality. Trinadapi Sanichena Tawarpi Seshna Manina Manidena Kirtanaya. We're offering respect. You see, everyone is Krishna's face, whether they're in a Muslim body or in a Christian body. And you know how to, if they're a little pious, that's at least now it's getting more dangerous. Isn't it? All over the world now, these pro-Palestine marches, even in Israel and all in America. And now there's a real polarization taking place. And it's between the demons and the demons. Isn't it? Prabhupada predicted that would happen. The next war would be between the demons and the demons. And then the numbers of the human race will be greatly reduced. A karmic purification of Mother Earth, because we've been destroying against the laws of nature. And that's what you're doing in your job. 90% of your energy is for the demons, for their plans, for sense gratification. Hey, Hare Krishna Prabhu. You're looking at every you. Huh? We should be ashamed of our attachment to sleeping in a class. Stand up and fight. It's a battle with the mind. We gotta be inspired to get bhakti. And you get that from reading the Shastras every day and discussing these things together. And what we're going to do to act according to Krishna's instructions. Prabhupada's put all the details in his purports for how human races can live a godly life, a healthy, happy, loving life with all living beings. He built a house the whole world can come together. I'm coming from the Jewish. There's just Palgu Dharma. Everything, even the Hindus here worshiping the demigods, just for calm, low crowds, smoking, chewing gutka and non-veg, and even gutka in the temple. They go to the demigod temple, isn't it? Playing cards, smoking. This is our temples in Bharat. Even though you don't do that in a church. Smoke. They drink after the service. They have alcohol, wine, and it's no different here. So we have to teach. We are meant to be, this temple is meant to have Brahmins and then organize the Varnashram. With Varna ashram communities, with Gurukul. Not this Kamloops crowd education. The British brainwash, they captured the educational system and that's how they broke the faith. And with all this technology, we think this is progress. To have a motorbike and smash into, in some accident. Thousands, how many thousands of people are dying every day just from these automobiles? So, how to live a simple, happy, healthy life. with your family. If you have to get married, then you get married, but to live with the earth and with the cows and the bale, in harmony with the cows and the peacocks, instead of in the city with the crows, where the pigeons are having sex 24/7. Isn't it? That's what you see. The male is just chasing, and that's what you learn in the university. And you get a body like that. A pig body, and we can have sex with your children. That's what they do. Isn't it? You become obsessed by sex and lust and greed. And then bombs and fear and killing. This is all Bhagavad Gita. This is all Bhagwatam. How we can change our psychology with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and going out and living it and seeing the result in the character of the children and of the government. Real training with real devotees and Brahmins, real Brahmins, like Chanakya. Of course, he wasn't even a Vaishnava, but Dharma, Varnashram. We have to reestablish Varna ashram. Like even Gandhi appreciated that we should have the village culture. But he was more with the British, and he was responsible for Bangladesh and Pakistan with the British. This is the history, the borrowed history, not the Western version, where the British are the best. How they were killing people in the market here because they were wearing the cutty. The British massacring all the people who represented the village culture, and not to buy these shirts, this British cloth. They were making it on their own handlooms. And Prabhupada instructed Gopal Krishna Maharaj to do that in Mayapur, and Jayapataka Maharaj, and supporting the temple from our own cloth, selling our own cloth, making our own cloth and our own food, and selling that. The extra produce. This is Prabhupada's instructions. I was just reading that in conversations with a saint. Prabhupada's instructions directly to Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I think most of you are his disciples, isn't it? Isn't it? What does disciple mean? When you take Diksha, that you're surrendered to the order of the Guru, to fulfill his order from Prabhupada, to know Prabhupada's instructions as Shiksha Guru for all of ISKCON, that all the family are, I'm your uncle, Kaka. Real relationships in the Sankirtan army of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the Senapati Guru Prabhupada for the next 10,000 years. He lives forever in his books and his followers live with him. And then you can appreciate your Guru Maharaj. About how that's what, and we're figuring, how many disciples are in the mood of a disciple? Just superficial, how I can enjoy, and I do some service mechanically in my relation with him. Just like a robot, like AI, doing our activities, instead of with love, with desire to please Krishna and Prabhupada, and reestablish yada yada dharmasya glanabhavati bharata bhutanam dharmasya dadatmanam srijamyam prichanaya sadhanam vinashaya chadushkitam dharma samsapanartaya sambhavami yuke yuke. You got to be ready. Now is the book distribution marathon, but now it's time to also show the example of what's in these books. With Varnashram Dharma, not just the Brahmin temples, superficial Brahmins, really inspiring and organizing with our devotees, and then inspiring others to see the result. A real Brahmin Gurukul, like I see with Pandharpur. Maharaj has about 20 students or about 40 students right next to where he lives. Real Brahminical devotees, 5-year, 6-year, 10-year, children with the qualities. I've never seen such qualities in a human being. Such pure Vaishnavas. Prabhupada said the second 2 generations would be pure devotees who are born into this movement. We got to have this, so the time is now. How much time do we have? What time is it? 9:04? Huh?
6 to 9.
What time is it? I forget about time.
7.
So we got about 10 minutes. Wait. I'm just going to quickly. This is about Maya. This verse is all about Maya and what we're not meant to do. Anyway, I didn't even chant the Ramadava prayers. So, let me just quickly read the verse in purport. Somebody can translate. This is all about Maya, this verse in purport. But Prabhupada says, in the purport, how we're meant to act. So, Pitri Devarshi, I'm just going to read it. Pitri Devarshi Martyanam Bhutanam Atmanashaha Chaimyam Vedanti Sharanam Bhavesmin Yadgri Hashramaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Quickly. Ooh. Go in the back. For those, the Hindi. You read the Hindi while I'm reading the English. The translation by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The woman continued, according to authorities, the householder life is pleasing not only to oneself, but to all the forefathers, demigods, great sages, saintly persons, and everyone else. A householder life is thus beneficial. Saintly persons means dharma, artha, kam. This kind of smarta Brahmins. Not the Vaishnava, like Tukaram and Ramdas Swami, with Shivaji Maharaj. And the Pune command, the real special forces. Undefeatable. Undefeatable, like Arjun. Prabhupada said he was the last Maharati. Now we have to have real Varnashram communities and an economy based on agriculture and cow protection. Especially after the war, that's how we're going to have the economy, by force. By force, we're going to be forced to go back to Mother Earth. Right now, most of the people and our devotees are not ready to do it until after the bombs fall, when we're starving. Now is the time, before that happens, to get out of the city and raise our own food with our own. How the village people used to live, how we used to make our houses from the local resources of the rock, the stone, Not these, just a simple, just you have any little earthquake and finished. The whole concrete, they collapse. Just some concrete instead of rock, like the temples and houses used to be, or wood. The local wood. And not using cutting down all the trees for all these demoniac newspapers and books about sex and Shakespeare and all this stuff. All the libraries full of godless and how they kill all the trees. It's only for the Shastras that we should be cutting down the trees for paper. These are all Prabhupada's instructions. And we grow the trees and we revive Mother Earth with gobar and composting instead of deserts without any nutritional value. Because we're putting all these chemicals into the earth. How to live a healthy, happy, loving life. And not going to the job with the Madajis, instead of at home like Mother Yashoda and Nanda with the cows and the bale. The natural way for the human being, healthy, happy, real prosperity. This is real prosperity. Healthy, loving, happy lives. So, according to the Vedic system, when one is born in the material world, he has many obligations. He has obligations to the demigods of the sun and moon, King Indra, Varuna, etc. Because they are supplying the necessities of life, we receive heat, light, water, and all other natural amenities through the mercy of the demigods. We are also indebted to our forefathers who have given us these bodies, paternal property, intelligence, society, friendship, and love. This is all materialistic. Society, friendship, and love. All based on the body for material enjoyment. This is Dharma Artha Kam. That this Mataji that he wants to marry is Puranjan. Because that's his mentality. Similarly, we are indebted to the general public for politics and sociology. And we are also indebted to lower animals, such as horses, cows, asses, dogs, and cats. In this way, as soon as one is born in this material world as a human being, he has so many obligations and is bound to repay all these obligations. If he does not repay them, he is further entangled in the process of birth and death. The greedy lady, however, who is overly addicted to material things, does not know that if he simply takes shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, he is immediately freed from all obligations to others. Because you're watering the root of the tree. You don't have to just put water on the leaves and branches. But when you water the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, then all of your obligations, and you can go back home, back to Godhead, while doing your duty in society, all for the pleasure of the Lord, and not just for the demigods and the ancestors. Then you don't, Vaishnav, he offers them all respect, but he worships only Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's in charge of all the demigods, and they're just his servants. So when you water the Supreme Master, you please him, and you follow his instructions, then all the demigods are pleased. Otherwise, how can you please 33 million demigods? But they're all pleased when you serve Krishna. And you go back home back to Godhead, if you're really fixed on that goal. Instead of how to enjoy your activities with Krishna providing all your material, that your motive is for your own enjoyment. Business, making business with Krishna, instead of pure bhakti. Real bhakti is for his satisfaction of Guru and Krishna. So we have to develop absolute faith in Guru and Krishna. By acting like Arjuna, you get the result. You experience that happiness, how you're pleasing him in the heart, and how you're protected. When you go out on book distribution, and if you get attacked by some gunda, I know. Because I've been attacked. I even have scar from beating my head with a gun. And beating me, and my arms behind my back with some gang. In some slum, like in Bombay, in some place in Puerto Rico. When I was like 29, when I was 20, about 28, 29 and 79, I was distributing books in some gundas, some young gang. And I was chanting, I couldn't believe my body, so I wanted to go back. You know, I took shelter of the Sringadev. Then I got a little proud because I was getting strength. I was just meditating on the Sringadev. You know, and Prahlad Maharaj, that picture that we have on our Bhagwatam. I was meditating on that picture, and I was getting spiritual strength, and they were getting tired from beating me. And so then finally he tried using the gun to knock me out, and I wasn't even feeling it. And some blood was coming, and I ended up getting some stitches. But I was fully protected, and then I got proud, and then my meditation broke. And then I couldn't meditate on the Sringa. I could fix my mind, or on the Hare Krishna mantra, and then Prabhupada, and then I got the strength and felt Prabhupada's protection. And then I just was chanting, Prabhupada, and again, then they ran away. The person who was holding my arms, he got afraid or something, and then he ran, and then the guy who was holding the gun and was beating me, he looked at me like this, and he ran away, you know. Then I went to the local clinic, and I got some stitches and went back to the temple. This is what it means to be a Sankirtan. Padayatras like the commandos, special forces, in the village with the Bailgadi, and living in all kinds of construction sites or dharmshalas or temples. Some temple, you stay overnight, and you're moving every day, a new place. You don't know where you're going to be sleeping next. You just see how Krishna arranges something every day, and how the devotees are really fixed in their service. You see how Krishna takes care in all times, all places, in all circumstances, in rain, sun, and how inspired you become. Utsaha. So, I'll just finish this purport. Unfortunately, a Griyamati does not have any interest in Krishna consciousness. Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirna Krishna Parata Svatova Mito Vipadyeta Griha Vratanam. Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 30 of the Bhagwatam. A Griya Vrata is the same as a Griyamati. means one who's attached just to the house and the money. Huh? Isn't it? So is that our mood as devotees? Huh? We have to see. Action speaks louder than words. Isn't it? Like Arjuna, he heard Bhagavad Gita and then he took up his bow and went to kill Bhishma. And Drona, his teachers and grandfather, and his family members. Then he took up his bow for Krishna's service because they were with Duryodhana. How many Hindus were with the Muslims in Surat when Shivaji Maharaj had to burn their house down and get the money because they were giving all the money to the Muslims and they didn't want to give one pice to help Shivaji fight them. The Hindus, Paiswala, person supporting the Muslims, we were supporting the demons. And even our devotees encourage people to go to the university and get those jobs, isn't it? In our base, to get a responsible job, because the students aren't ready to hear this message. So we give the message and help them gradually come to Krishna consciousness, because they wouldn't take to Krishna consciousness. But now it's time, when we have persons in a congregation who have been practicing, to show example of the alternative, especially with this war coming ahead. Now we can really preach straight. Because people are afraid of the bombs when they hit Delhi and they can hit Bombay and Bangalore. Isn't it? On all the cities of the world, they got thousands of fire, destroy a whole city. And our temples, we'll see what is Krishna's plan, how he protects the temple, you know. This temple that you're building, it may not be around in 7 years. And all the devotees, if they're still living in the temple, they'll be dead. And they're getting another body, either in Vaikunt, in Golok, or back in another body. To continue your Krishna consciousness if you don't go back home, back to Godhead. Like you are now, picking up where you left off from your last body. Do you want to continue like that? Or you want to fully surrender to the mission of Krishna and Mahaprabhu to change the heart of the soul? Instead of killing him and chopping his head off, you have to capture his heart, kill him with kindness and a gulab jamun. Especially in India, we can preach straight, but we have to be inspired with our own conviction to show them the alternative, especially now. It's the best time. Prabhupada said before the war, the preaching will be best. And then during the war, it'll be stopping. And then after the war, it'll be better than ever with whoever's still living. Because people will be turning to us for guidance. We have all the solutions, the scientific knowledge, and all the people with other so-called religions that are all corrupted, they don't have the knowledge. They'll wonder, how could God kill everybody? All the Muslims, all the you know, and they'll be looking to us for guidance. So now is the time to get that training, to be able to guide the people. Now. Each one of us to become real Sankirtan soldiers. Real Sankirtan soldiers. Not just that I do it for a month and then I kick back and I can just go on in my mood. So now, okay? So, thanks for sitting and hearing me. I don't know if I made any offenses, but please forgive me. But are there any comments, or you have some disturbance from what I'm saying? Or you have some comments or questions? Anyone? Mataji? Any of the devotees and brahmacharis? Anyone? Some thinking. Questions in school are for thinking individuals who are serious students. Then they ask the questions. Thinking individuals, not just like robots. And going on with our lives. Thinking individuals.
They will ask personally.
I mean, I made some heavy, Krishna consciousness, Guru is heavy. Soft as a rose and hard as a thunderbolt. So that's Shastra. Shastra is the weapon to cut our attachments. Isn't it? As a jiva, no fear of death to the last breath. In Krishna consciousness, because when you leave your body like that, you go back home, back to Godhead. There's no loss, only gain. And if you continue to live, you have victory, then you can establish the kingdom of God on earth with our Varnashram communities, Vrindavan villages. Vrindavan villages. Okay, so yeah, some question.
If you're thinking to do personal, you can ask personally.
He
You can
wanted
ask
to ask
personally if there are
personally.
some questions.
Huh?
Prabhuji wanted to ask personally question. Personally he will ask.
Who wa-
Personally he will ask.
Who wants to ask?
No, Prabhuji.
What? What's the question?
Question.
Thank you, Guruji, for a very wonderful and encouraging lecture. My question is why we have said that there is, with the increase of Kali Yuga, there is increase of all kind of abominable activities in all over the world.
I'm not understanding. Maybe somebody else can also repeat, because I'm not hearing your words.
He's saying that Kali Yuga is
Come close.
Guruji, my question is, like you have said that with the increase of Kali Yuga, there is increase of all kinds of abominable activities all over the world, as you have mentioned. And there is a possibility that there may be a third world war in the very near future.
Yeah.
So, so as we have taken the shelter of Srila Prabhupada to fulfill the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. And now, if a situation like this happens in the very near future, that there will be a war. So, what should be the stand for us? Like in the Kurukshetra battle, Lord Krishna was there by the side of Arjuna. He told that if you fight, you will get your kingdom. If you fight and die, you will achieve the ultimate goal.
Yes.
Either way, you will be glorious. But Lord Krishna is not now with us. So I was just asking, what is Lord Krishna's instruction for us in this situation?
Well, that's the instruction. What he does, the result, is up to him. He has his plan. Prabhupada said there was coming a third, he said in 50 years, there's going to be a complete change of the whole structure of society. And that's happening right now. America's no longer number one. Now China's coming up, Russia's coming up, India's coming up. And he has the biggest respect because even he's not representing bhakti, but he's representing dharma. And for material prosperity, you better do, like it says here, for the demigods, that's Modi's. So you get that. Dharma. Artakam. So he has that character to follow those principles. And so he has that character. And he has the respect of all the world leaders right now. He's the only one, the most respected leader. And he's not even representing bhakti. He's representing dharma takam with the demigods. And he appreciates how we're actually, he sees it, Krishna consciousness as part of his program. He sees Krishna as like one of the demigods and ultimately Brahman, isn't it? Yogi. And so, but with the Vedic system, so he represents at least Aryan culture. And so he has that character and the strength from the Shastras for that level. And so, for the first time in history, India has the most respect ever in history, in modern history, isn't it? But now we have to be ready to actually put into action rural development. We can get money from Modi maybe if we approach him for rural development, because Modi, that's one of them, and we can work together for his purpose, for rural development, for bhakti communities, but focusing on the idea that we're working for what you want. And we can get money from the government even, but at least from our devotees. We have so much money with big industrialists. So we can actually go for the solution for this war. We can preach to them that we want to establish farm communities, grow food from the gobar, with cows and bale. I think maybe some of them will give crores of rupees. And meanwhile, we go out with book distribution to have people who will do that on the farms. A few people maybe come from some village background, are sick and tired of the rat race. The rat race, where you can lose your job anytime, and the boss, he doesn't even care about you. And you can live in a community where we care for each other instead of cheating each other for get money. And as long as we feel our belly, we don't care about a war coming. We just go into it till it happens. Like a blind man following the blind off a cliff. We got to take to heart these instructions of Krishna. And whatever happens, if we have the farm communities and the war doesn't happen, then we're back to and we're out of the rat race. And if it does happen, then we're off away from the bomb. At least we have land and water, and we have the oxen, and we can grow our food. But we're going to have to take care of millions of people, because people they won't know. We have to train them. Prabhupada predicted that would happen, and we're going to have to train them after the war. If we don't know how to do it, then how many devotees know how to do these things? So now it's around 2030, even these astrologers, Vedic astrologers, are predicting it's going to happen. Exactly what Prabhupada is saying. Around 2030 or 2029. That's where they're already preparing on the border between and China, isn't it? They're building up the troops. And India is also building up the troops. So, any other comments or ideas or some positive action, something, to do something, to begin the plan or to talk about it and organize, to find people who are inspired. To do something now, to at least discuss it, and to find people who are ready now. And that's there in our preaching. And not just to go on like robots, AI programmed. So, anything else?
Just like to thank you for giving a wonderful insight for our ashram.
A what?
Preparing for the war and giving our ashram and all. We all have got good inspiration and we're discussing this further.
But with a sense of urgency, not just blah, 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 blah.
So
Oh, very nice. Like we've been doing for the past 50 years. And we got to become fired up.
I'm asking,
And it's only with enthusiasm when you dance in the kirtan, then you carry that mood out on Sankirtan. And you get the same reciprocation from the Lord. You become enthusiastic when you run and enthusiastic. With Krishna driving the chariot, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. And you're only speaking from the books when you speak. On a level that people are able to relate with and become inspired, especially right now. You know, people are really seeing it, but they're just going on like robots. Time to wake up. And they see you have that enthusiasm and conviction and are actually planning to do this. And you can tell about that with people that you meet as you're actually taking positive action. At least to come to the temple to see the nectar of the prasadam and the sangha. And Krishna consciousness, to hear and release the nectar of the kirtan. According to the mood of the person, we have to speak. So, any more questions? We got a minute? Mataji's, anybody who's left? Few, no, not everybody. Like Prabhupada, you know, he stayed with his Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, those who went out to Sheshai Vishnu, those who stayed, and Prabhupada stayed, and he said, yes, he likes to hear, and he gave him first and second initiation, and then very quickly sannyas. Huh? No, sannyas, yeah. He took sannyas later. So really, to get like our boom, in here, to here, boom. I see only the eye of the bird, to get the book into the heart, or at least to make friend with that. To this old way of conditioned British brainwash. Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Everybody! Not this like Draupadi when she was holding on with one hand and Dushasana was stripping her naked in the assembly. She was going, hey Govinda! Krishna said, oh no, you're playing chess with Rukmini in Dwarka. Oh, my devotee's calling, but he doesn't really calling. And then she finally realized what I can do. And then, hey Govinda! Hey Govinda! Hey Govinda! And then, Krishna immediately. That's when Krishna comes. Intense feelings, intense surrender, crying like a baby for the mother. Ah! Not like, Mama, and mother won't come. But when you're really screaming, help me, save me. When we're struggling with the mind, take shelter of Krishna, stand up. When you're doing this kind of japa or in class or reading, then you stand up and walk. I did that for years. Because every time I would sit down, I would sleep. And to have the Shakti, I had to read the books. Minimum 14 pages of Bhagwatam, then other books, of Prabhupada's small books, the Nectar of Prabhupada Lilamrita, I read 15 times. And Krishna book 84 times. To get that in my database, Krishna and Vrindavan, and all of these instructions, I read 7 times, all Bhagavatams. Take me 4 or 5 years, reading 14 pages. So this is how I stay on the battlefield wearing saffron. 99% of the devotees fell down from Brahmacharya ashram. Isn't it?
Yes.
You don't see many brahmacharis who are 70 because they mostly fell down. And very few are really grihastas. Even if they still, a few of them chanting still Krishna conscious, but they're fallen. They're not following the 4 regs. Isn't it? Now, your generation, now better. Because they take birth and then come back. So now you may be from my generation, and now you have another chance to finish your business as real Sankirtan soldiers on the front line. And those who aren't in the front line, there should be very few staying back all year. Not just in the marathon. That's how Prabhupada, only a pujari or cook, cooking, and then and all the rest. And the pujari and the cook, they would change pujaris, and then at least sometime in the week, at least one day a week, go out on Sankirtan. Every devotee in the temple to do some book distribution in a week. That's how I joined. That was the movement when I joined. And that's when it was expanding. Even when people were taking drugs and all this nonsense. And Prabhupada inspired that in us. And we also have to get it from him and inspire others. By acting, you get Krishna's reciprocation with Guru and Krishna, putting a smile on the face of Guru and Krishna when he sees your wholehearted commitment to take up your bow, your Sankirtan bags, like Arjuna had his astras with his unlimited arrows and his Gandiva. And so we go like this, heart to heart, connecting with the heart. Not just getting a big book score, but getting the people to read the books with small books also, like machine gun bullets. Prabhupada said it was the small books and magazines, Bhagavad Darshans, and the big books, bombs. So you also need to go in infantry with because that's what they'll read. Mostly they don't read Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, when they get some ruchi for the Sambandha-gyan, very nice, with like Rajavidya and Punar Prashna, Punar Uttar, and Janmar Vidyusay Pare, and science self-realization. Very nice. They can read small sections in a day and get the full understanding of me and the soul and the God and Bhagavan and Paramatma. All these things are there. Gita Sar. Like when you're in beginning grade school, you have to go with the beginning level. So we have to understand this and not just go for a score. And people who don't have 250 rupees, then they don't get a book. But everybody should go away with something. And even we can have free pamphlets, little paper that have basic philosophy and the holy name and an invitation to the temple. And even people, we can give a mantra card and get them to chant. Because we care for them. Not just we do it heartlessly and mechanically. We have to practice compassion. And after some time, our heart will get purified. If we practice it, Krishna will reciprocate, heart to heart. With you and Krishna in the heart. And giving that, and caring for, as family, Krishna's family, my family, America Parvar, not just I have my village, my home is with my mother and father, and my country is India. No! Where Vrindavan is my home, Krishna, Adi Pita, Radha, Adi Mata, my real father, my real mother. They just giving the body. And they're meant to act as Krishna's instrument, who is the real father and mother that we learned that as children. With Krishna Leela and Krishna games, not this Batman and Spider-Man. This is what Mickey Mouse, what you learn in grade school and Shakespeare. We have to get back to Bhari, Sanatan Dharma. Now, we're going to do it after the war. Better we try to make some preparation for the war. Better. It's better. I think so. Okay? Why not? What is the difficulty?